All right, good morning, good morning, good morning. So, I'll show you guys a couple things we can do with potatoes today. We are going to start off by getting our potatoes. We're going to be looking at making some home fries. All right, so what I like to do with that, with mine, I like to get these little half moons going. Or you can get the little cubes, whichever work for you. But I go with the, you can kind of cube it up some. All right, make it fork friendly, or you can go with the half moons. Which either way is fine. Just make sure you cook them. You're going to cook them all to the same amount of time. So we want to cut them all about the same size. All right. So even though I did a few like that and a few half that size, they'll still cook about the same because they're about the same in girth. All right. But like I said, I'm going to go ahead and cube it up just because I do feed my 7-year-old, almost 8-year-old. So I want to make sure I think about him as well. All right, so that's how I like to do my home fries. I'm also going to show you guys another method of getting potato prep going. And I know a lot of you have been to Waffle House and you really love their shredded hash browns, smothered, covered, southern, all that good stuff. All right, so what you want to do with that is you take the potato, you want to protect your fingers, all right? You really push into the biggest grate on your box grater. Now the thing about potatoes is they carry a lot of water, so you're going to want to have some paper towels there for when you get done to squeeze them out. And I also have some egg whites because that's going to help hold them together when we go to make our hash browns. So you use some egg whites and a little bit of flour, and that's what helps hold them together. Now you also want to make sure you season them at that time too before you put them on the grill to kind of layer your seasoning as opposed to waiting until after they cook. All right, so you see it's shredding up pretty nicely. All right, we just got to squeeze out all that liquid. So that's one way of doing it. And then I'm going to show you guys another way of doing it. But real quick, I'm going to show you one thing that I have going on in the pot for our home fries. And I know you guys are thinking home fries, they should be fried. Well, yes and no. I start off with a boiling method where I boil them with a little bit of salt and baking soda, which alkalizes the water so that it helps break the potato down quicker. Now from here, you can either put the potatoes in the oven and cook them on like 400 degrees, mix them around a little bit, or you can do them on a flat top or on a pan, whatever you want to do. So I'm gonna show you guys a couple of things. And then from there, I know you guys can see my little bouquet of rosemary and thyme. This is to infuse the water for my home fries. And you don't have to let that be in there too long. Just to kind of release some of the oil of the rosemary and the thyme. And once you do that, you can pull it out. That's why I kept that string, which should be a little bit longer so I could actually tie it around the handle. But that's just something I wanted to show you guys real quick. And I'm going to show you guys the cooking method and some other steps in the process, and we'll go from there. All right, so see, my water has started to boil. And I now have my little bushel of rosemary and thyme that I'm going to pull out here. All right, and I have my potatoes chopped up, and we're going to get those into the water. But before we do, I'm going to actually put 2 tablespoons of pink Himalayan salt. You can use whatever kind of salt you guys have, iodized, kosher, sea salt, whatever is around. All right, I'm going to get that into the water. And then I'm also going to get, let me clean this off. I'm also going to get 1 tablespoon of baking soda. Like I said, this is going to alkalize the water and it's going to help break up the potatoes. So when I mix it, it's going to make out to be really nice. Look at that. Special effects. All right. So now we're going to get our potatoes in. All right. And you can get those back covered. And that water has been infused with rosemary and thyme. I wish you guys could smell it, but you can't. So I'm gonna do that for you guys, and I'll be back shortly to show you a few more steps with the hash browns. All right, so right here you see my potatoes are starting to boil. So with that, so that you don't have any overflow like I typically do, just take the lid off and just let some of that steam kind of release. Over here with the hash browns, what I did is I just took a few paper towels and I used my plastic cutting board to really press out any moisture that's in here, right? Because when we put it with the oil, we don't want that. Water and oil, we know, are not friends when oil is heated up, right? And we put water in it. That's when we get that pop, 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 pop. All right, so just make sure you really press down, really squeeze it out. You can see the amount of moisture here. If you have a mesh strainer at home, I would advise pushing through that. If you have cheesecloths, I would also advise using that as well. Those are also more efficient methods that you can use. I unfortunately don't have either of those right now, so I'm working with what I have. I do have a mesh strainer, I just can't find it right now. So anyway, like I said, really work the moisture out of those, and once you do, you'll be ready to get them into the bowl and get them mixed up with your seasoned blend, whatever you're gonna put into them. So I have the basil and oregano, parsley and all that for my home fries. And then for the hash browns, I just use a simple salt, pepper, granulated garlic mixture. And then I know some of you like spicy stuff, so you guys can add a little bit of cayenne during this step. And then you start forming your hash browns. So form your hash browns, you can use a biscuit cutter or you can shape them by hand. Whatever you choose to do is completely up to you. So like I said, I'm gonna finish getting those hash browns together, and then I'm gonna show you guys how we cook them. And I'm gonna get the potatoes out of the water and show you guys another step as well. All right, so as you can see, we went ahead and pulled the potatoes out of the water. And while they're still hot, this is when you really wanna get the seasoning on them and get them mixed around a little bit. And I'm gonna show you how it kind of beats them up. And we have the skillet for the home fries, and then we're gonna use the flat top, just like you see in Waffle House. We're gonna use the flat top for the hash browns. So I have them both preheated to about 400. And you wanna put a couple of tablespoons of oil. Any kind of oil will do it this time. It's just something to coat and help your seasoning stick. All right, and then we're going to use a little bit of our special spice blend. All right, so hopefully that'll be, it's a mixture of some salt, pepper, granulated garlic, and some other stuff that makes it taste good. And then I also like to use the dried herbs here as well. Basil, as much as you like, is truly up to you on this step. A little bit of dried parsley. You can also use fresh as well if you have it. I'm just using dried because I always enjoy how it tastes on my home fries. All right, and then a little bit of oregano. And like I said, fresh is completely fine as well. And fresh, you can do a nice little herb butter and pour it over top of this if you want to. So with that, I really want to show you guys this step. I'm gonna toss, I lost a potato. Man down. My wife really loves potatoes. That's a sin to her that I just dropped one. Should probably tell her to pick it up later. All right, so you see the potatoes, the starch is kind of starting to release and stick a little bit to each other. All right, so that's what you want. You can also use a spoon and toss it if you don't feel comfortable. But it's just a push and lift. Push and lift. Push and lift. All right, so get that going. Like I said, I have both of these preheated to about 400 degrees. I'm just gonna put a couple tablespoons of oil. I'm gonna just get it in the skillet for now, and then we'll get it on the flat top in just a minute. All right, so let's get those in. And that's always the time you want to let you know that you have preheated properly. All right, proper preheating prevents poor cooking. I just made that up, not sure if that's a thing, but that's what we're going with. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. So get those potatoes in, and they boiled in the water for about 15 minutes. So that's why I said it's important that you cut them down to the same size. All right, so just really get them flattened out so they can all get a nice little caramel brown color on them. And push that down, and you can see that they're starting to break up, but kind of adhering together. All right, so that's what you want for this. So this is, like I said, they're pretty much done from the boiling process. Now it's just a matter of how you like your home fries. All right, so here with the hash browns, all right, I have the flour, about a tablespoon or so of flour, all-purpose works. Some of my seasoning with salt, a little bit of additional salt because that helps to extract some of the water. And then I also have 3 egg whites in there. If you don't have egg whites, you can use 1 whole egg. It's just fine. It works out just as good. All right, so I'm gonna actually mix this with my hand because we're gonna actually be shaping these with our hand. All right, so get that going. You still feel some of that moisture in there, but that's okay. These were Yukon Gold potatoes, so they hold a little bit more moisture. That's actually not true, but you could use a russet potato, Idaho potato, red potato, whatever you want. But like I said, I chose to use these so they may not crisp up like I want. So I'm really not going to use a lot of oil on my pan. For this entire pan, I'll probably use like 1 to 2 tablespoons and just really work it that way. I was going to use some bacon drippings, but my wife is vegan, so because I love her, I'm not going to do that. But you can see some of that liquid coming out of your potatoes here. And you can actually use this method where you just kind of push it to the side if you don't feel like you got everything out the first time. But make sure you mix it good because that might be our egg whites also. So give it another good mix. Make sure you're not losing too much of that flavor. And this part you can get your hands dirty. And we're gonna get them shaped, right? So squeeze out that liquid before you put it on the pan in the hot grease. Like I said, you could use bacon drippings if you're gonna have bacon for breakfast. You can cook the bacon first and then turn around and do the home fries on the same pan. Oh my gosh, so much good flavor. If you don't eat bacon, not turkey bacon, real bacon, you can just use like a liquid smoke if you want that hickory smoky flavor. All right, so I think I squeezed out a lot of the liquid. And that's the sound we want right there. I'll get a few more of those. You can make them any size. The thinner they are, the quicker they're going to cook. But you see that kind of just holds them together. So that's our flour and our egg whites that are kind of helping do that. And you know, I know some of you like it shredded, smothered, covered, chunked, all that good stuff. Not doing all that today, keeping it pretty simple. Mine are seasoned. That's all I can tell you. All right, so at this time, like I said, potatoes are probably one of the most versatile products on the planet. You can use it for a lot of things. In any type of cooking, you can use it in soups to thicken up your liquid. You can use it, French fries, I know is everybody's favorite. Like I said, we're doing a nice home fry today. So this is some of the different things you can do with them. And that greenish color is just from the skin of the, I'm not sure if you guys can see that, is from the skin of the potato. So that's actually okay. We're not going to hold it against the potato. Right, it's a-okay. You can probably get 6 good sized ones out of here, and I probably used about 8 small Yukon potatoes. All right, so like I said, if you use the russet potatoes or the big Idaho potatoes, they'll give you a greater yield. So that's something you want to keep in mind too. So get these last 2 down, and I'm gonna clean up my hands because we know how important hand washing is now that my movies are coming true. Contagion, Outbreak, all that good stuff. This is my last one. Squeeze that out, really squeeze it out, flatten it with your hands. If you don't want to get your hands dirty, find somebody else in your house to do it. But I promise you, it's not that bad. As soon as you're done, just get them down. Let them go for about 3-4 minutes on each side. Like I said, I have it on 400. So you want to make sure you watch them because it will cook kind of quick. You can see the one in the middle starting to brown already. So that's definitely something you want to look out for. All right, so as you can see, I flipped a couple of the hash browns already. So that one, not as well as this one. And you really want to see that. And I've also stirred our home fries. So those are looking good. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the rest of our hash browns to see how they're looking. Worst case, if they don't brown all the way the first time around, you can give them another turn if you need to. That one's not ready yet. Let that go. And these you can push down because all you're doing is expelling the water out of them and helping them hold together a little bit better. So, yeah, so those need to brown a little bit more. This one is beautiful. I'll give you guys a little shot here. That one browned beautifully, so we're gonna let the other ones get to that color. Hopefully not too far past that color. In the meantime, give your home fries a stir. Some of them have started to brown really nicely, as you can see. So that's what you want. And once they do that, it's all about how you like it from here. If you want to go longer, go longer. If you like a nice crunch on them, you can. And this is all in place of deep fat frying. You know, we can always deep fat fry them and then toss them in a nice herb butter at the end. But you know, in lieu of the quarantine 15, we're trying to cut back calories wherever we can. So in this case, we did it by not deep frying, but instead a nice shallow pan fry right after boiling, right? Keeping in some of those nutrients, locking in some of those nutrients. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'm gonna get these plated up for you all here. And once I do, I'll be ready to grow. All right, so now we are ready to plate up. So we're gonna go ahead and get the heat off on our skillet. All right, and then we're gonna get these potatoes over here. I got a little rosemary and thyme garnish, just because that's what we use to kind of infuse the potatoes. So we're gonna get this up here. Really nice, they browned beautifully. It's actually how I like my potatoes, to have a little brown on them, a little color. And so you just get them, don't worry if you put them on top of the rosemary and thyme, it won't hurt anything, I promise. Alright. And if you don't feel comfortable, if you don't have kitchen hands holding this in your hand, you are welcome to set this down and bring the potatoes to your platter in a different method. Alright, so we got that. Ooh. Alright. That's good enough to start with. We'll give that to everybody else, and I'll have the rest of these that are in the pan browning up beautifully. Alright, yep, they want to stay with me. Okay. So there you have our home fries. Alright, show off a little bit for your guests. And then we're going to go ahead and plate up our, let's cut the heat off on the flat top. We're going to plate up our hash browns. Let's see how they ended up finishing. So they didn't brown as much as we want, so we can actually leave them on a lower heat just so they kind of do crisp up. And just to get things started, you can just kind of come like this here. Let's see what this guy did. Not too bad. Come here. It's trying to run from me. All right. Then this one here. And then our pièce de résistance, that beautiful one right there on top. We'll just hit that with a little bit of fresh parsley, just to garnish. And voila. All right, so good eating. Hopefully you guys enjoy. And hopefully I didn't bore you guys too much. And we look forward to seeing you guys next time. Take care.